There are several methods for dividing polynomials. I'm going to use the grid method because I think it is the simplest one to do, and it's the one that I use to show you how to multiply things, and it shows that division really is the reverse process of multiplying. In theory, you don't actually need polynomial division explicitly in the course. You need it to be able to do a couple of things that are in the syllabus, but you're not going to be asked to do a division, but you do need to be able to do the division. So the method you use doesn't actually matter. But as I said, I'm going to use the grid method and show you that one. I will also show you what's called long division. And if you really prefer that, you can use that method as well. So to do this using the grid method, a cubic divided by a linear, I'm going to set up my grid first of all. Now remember, what this means is I'm saying that this should be what I get out here as my answer, because when I multiply something by x plus 5, I'm going to get x cubed minus 11x plus 3. That's what a division is. It's the opposite of multiplication. So something multiplied by x plus 5 has to give me this. Now what's really important is remember that diagonal structure in the grid method. So first of all, we know that this one here is going to be x cubed. Now the only way that that can be x cubed is if this is x squared. And then we work through this. Given that this is x squared, this one has to be 5x squared. But if this is 5x squared and everything under here has to give me this polynomial, then this one is going to have to be minus 5x squared, because there are no x squareds in this polynomial. If this is minus 5x squared and this is x, then I have to have minus 5x here. Minus 5x times 5 means this one here is going to be minus 25x, but I only have minus 11x. So if I've got minus 25x, but I want minus 11x, this one is going to have to be plus 14x. That means this number here is going to have to be 14. And 14 times 5 is 70. But 70 is not 3. So something's wrong here, and that's because there's a remainder. Now the remainder is what we would need to do to get from this 70 to that 3. So the remainder in this case is equal to minus 67. Now what this means in terms of writing this in this form, that means that x cubed minus 11x plus 3 is equal to what I found here, x squared minus 5x plus 14 times by x plus 5, this times this. But if I do this times this, I get plus 70 at the end, so then at the end I need to take off my remainder, which is minus 67, to get me back to the plus 3. And that's how we can do polynomial division. I work out my quotient and my remainder using the grid method. Now let's have a look at using long division for polynomials. Some people prefer this, but I think most people prefer the grid method, but I will show you just in case. So we set it up much like a bus stop division for numbers. And one thing we must remember is to include all the terms. So if there's no x squared, I'm going to write 0x squared in here, because otherwise the method kind of falls apart a little bit. Now the way this process works, we say, what do we need to multiply x by to get x cubed? It would have to be x squared. That is, how many x's go into x cubed? X squared. And then from there, we multiply x squared by this whole thing. That would give us x cubed plus 5x. And we take that away from the polynomial. X cubed take away x cubed is nothing. 0x squared take away 5x is, that would be 5x squared there, minus 5x squared. And then we've still got the 11x and the plus 3 because we're taking away nothing from them. Now we do the same process again. What do we have to multiply x by to get to minus 5x squared? It would have to be minus 5x. And then we multiply that minus 5x by this linear factor, and we get minus 5x squared minus 25, and we again take it away. That leaves us with 0. Minus 11x take away 25x is going to give me 14x, and then plus 3 because we're taking away 0. We're saying, what do we have to multiply x by to get to 14x? It would have to be 14. What do we actually get when we multiply that by x plus 5? We get 14x plus 70. And when we take that away, they cancel out and we get minus 67. This gives us our quotient and our remainder here. So our quotient is this quadratic up here, and our remainder is this value at the bottom here. It gives us the same values as we got with the grid method. As I said, personally, I think most people prefer the grid method, but if you really prefer the long division method, you can use it. Maybe you've been shown that by a teacher in the past and you're more comfortable with it. It's absolutely fine. As far as this course is concerned, you need a method to be able to find the quotient and the remainder. But it doesn't particularly matter which method you use, as long as you can find those two things.